If you can hear me, please type in the chat if you don't mind. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Gangan. Okay. So I just want to start this session because it's already 2 o'clock and we have an hour, so we don't have much time to talk about all the concepts. I just want to say I'm honored to have you today in my virtual platform. Today we will be talking about circular economy. My name is Nadil Gassab. So just a bit of brief about myself. I am a senior risk lecturer here. I'm in charge of the Risk and Sustainability Academy mainly, and I'm a sustainability and climate risk certified by GARP. And one of the hot topics that everybody's talking about today is sustainability and how we can transform our model to be more adequate for future generations. So one of the prominent concepts that is being discussed extensively in sustainability is circular economy. So what are we going to cover today? So we're going to cover today what is circular economy, the type of economies, the rules, the guidelines, the tools that are there that govern circular economy. We will also talk about what is zero waste, waste management, carbon management. And finally, we will conclude the session by talking about the many examples of many companies that currently are implementing circular economy. And also, we're going to touch base upon how it really helps organizations to encompass the concept of circular economy. So just to start with the basic concept, what is sustainable development? You see, sustainable development, just as the name definition on the screen shows you, it is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So what does that really mean? That means if we start assuming, okay, that we are in a straight line, and there are generations on that straight line, and we're just right there in the middle. We are the middle generation. So we have to think about the upcoming generations that are coming, like Generation Alpha, which are our children, grandchildren. And we have to think about their prosperity and sustainability. And sustainability is all about the concept that you, as a human being, you have to continue in a sustainable format, in a progressional positive line. So you just have to progress in a better form that you are today. Now, if we want to think about that, you have to also think about the concept that for generations to continue, resources are unfortunately finite. We don't have unlimited pool of resources that I can give to everybody around the world. And based on that concept, the notion of circular economy comes into surface because since resources are finite and I have to give the upcoming generation their resources to meet their own needs, I can no longer operate on the concept of take, make, and waste. Now, what is take, make, and waste is exactly what we are doing currently as a linear economy. Now, to be honest, if your phone breaks, do you repair it? Most of us just throw it out. They go buy a new phone. If your headphone breaks, the same idea. If your coffee mug breaks, the same idea. You just go out there and buy a new coffee mug. And you know, unfortunately, when I was researching a lot about sustainability and circular economy, because it's a very dear topic to my heart, who doesn't want to do good to the world? So I got shocked when I was reading about circular economy because, you know, even previous generations, like the baby boomers, they used to do some sort of circular economy. Unfortunately, just generation X and Y, our generation went into the habit of linear economy. And to be honest, it was attributed for many reasons, is because they were trying to promote capitalism to increase profitability for organizations. And that's why we were always pushed in that notion to take, make, and waste. If it doesn't work, just go to the shopping mall and just buy something new. Then, in the 1980s and the 1990s, we came to the realization that we cannot sustain this method, and the concept of recycling was introduced. So, if you look at the middle diagram, you will see the recycling economy. Now, the recycling economy is different than the linear economy with just the middle ground, in which you take, you make, recycle, you use, but again, you waste. So yes, you do circulate it a bit, but eventually the end result is the wasting part. And it's a big problem because once you waste it, you will have to go back and produce new products. Okay? Now we are trying to introduce the concept of circular economy, and it's not again a new concept. Maybe it is introduced as a new concept. When you go back in history, you realize people a lot previously used to do it because they didn't have access to resources, and they weren't doing it in the notion that it is a circular economy. But now when we implement the concept, we will implement it in a way that we are aware. I am doing this because this is circular economy. So what is really a circular economy? Now, circular economy is take and minimal take, okay? Make, recycle, reuse, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, anything to stop it from becoming a waste. So just an example of this, a few years back, because I'm a mother, and I was trying to buy a baby chair for my son, and I really got impressed with the concept of a baby chair, that it was like a feeding chair. And it, after a while, when your child grows up, that chair gets converted to a table, and at the same time, it do get converted to a study table and a mini cupboard, and it will keep transforming while your child grows up. And I really found that product at the time, and I was not aware at the time about the concept of circular economy, but I remember thinking to myself, how innovative, you know? Even if it costs more, it is a product that you can redesign it in many ways, and it's not going to be a waste. And just that fact that you are not wasting resources, it just gives you a satisfaction. So when you are paying for the product, you feel it is worth every dinar you're paying for. So this is the concept of circular economy. So just to go back, just to re-emphasize what is linear economy. Now, linear economy is when you produce, consume, and it is mainly linear, as you can see on the diagram in front of you on the right. It's produce, consume, and throw away, okay? And the problem of this is whenever you produce, it increases the emission levels. You see, it's not about you as a consumer just buying the product off the shelf. The product has an entire life cycle. It will go to the companies to manufacture. So this manufacturing process in itself, it has a lot of emissions in the air. It actually causes global warming. And until it reaches and through the supply chain on the shelf, they keep it to you on the shelf. Here, it will also, this entire transportation has emissions. And finally, when you as a consumer, you buy it off the shelf and it stops serving its purpose, you throw it away, again, it causes to waste. So this system is highly inefficient, and of course it's unsustainable. Just to re-emphasize why it's not unsustainable, because you are touching the pool of finite resources that we have. So if we keep going the same way we're going, the future generations will no longer have raw resources to meet their own needs, which conflicts with the definition of what is sustainability. Now, disadvantages of linear economy, it is highly polluting, as I said, it increases in emissions. It touches the core raw resources that we have, like water. It pollutes water, rivers, land. It reduces soil quality, causing desertification. It actually pollutes the air because every time you need to produce these factories, they emit harmful gases into the air. And then you have the living being. Now, it has serious consequences for flora and fauna. So flora and fauna, it um, it signifies the plant life and fauna, the animal life. So you actually harm not only the human beings on the planet, but all the living creatures around the planet. So hence, there is a need. And I really like this slide because you see, I didn't write there is a want or there is a desire, there is a need. It's absolutely a necessity to shift to a circular economy. And it is a concept that the whole world is trying now to push through as a concept. So there are a lot of competitions you will see worldwide that they are doing for college students and organizations that are trying to propose ways that we can actually achieve a circular economy. It can be from changing the product design to changing the way that we process to even talking to stakeholders for increased transparency. It's all within the area of circular economy. And, you know, by doing circular economy, you actually achieve in the long run zero waste because when you are redesigning, when you are circulating back the products to be used again and again and again, you achieve an efficient carbon management and zero waste. Now, what is circular economy? As you can see from the diagram in front of you, it's basically producing, reducing, reusing, and recycling, and taking back again the final product to be a source of production for a new product, or even the same product sometimes. So circular economy is a cyclical model, okay? So if we want to think about what are the main pillars of circular economy, there are three main pillars. One is to manage your waste. Two, to keep circulating or redesigning the products. And three, to regenerate natural system. What is to regenerate natural systems? Redesign the ecosystem around us, find innovative ways to revamp processes, introduce new guidelines, new processes like closed loop processing, which I will speak about later on. So circular economy principles, what is circular economy principles? If you see here, circular economy principles is when waste becomes a resource. All the biodegradable material returns to nature. So if you look at the video, I really found this video really nice because it actually transforms the food that you have that is a waste into a decomposable material. So let's take a moment and look at the video.
Every year, the average person produces 475 pounds of food waste. Until now, there have only been a handful of food disposal options. Traditional home composting systems are cumbersome outdoor piles, heaps, or bins that can take up to 5 weeks to process and requires constant maintenance. Some cities have required green bins to separate food waste from other trash. These options not only attract vermin, but also produce unpleasant odors. The use of in-sink disposal units are also plagued with odor, harmful to the environment, and cause costly lung complications, and are now restricted in many regions. What if you could turn food waste into no food wasted? What if the easier solution was also easier on the environment? Introducing the Food Cycler Home, the leading odorless, short-cycle in-home composter. This eco-friendly technology reduces food waste by as much as 90%, and with daily use costs less than $5 a month to operate. Compacted design, the device expedites the natural composting process without the use of drains, venting, or additives. Food waste is sterilized and converted into a nutrient-rich soil amendment, ideal for use in gardening and landscaping. The Food Cycle at Home uses revolutionary technology to modernize the composting process. Here's how it works. Step 1. Food waste, both cooked and uncooked, is collected in the removable basket. The Food Cycle at Home will even compost bones, pits, shells, meat, and citrus rinds. Step 2. With a push of a button, the quiet cycle begins. Agitators break down the material into small particles while it is heated to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, decomposing and sterilizing it. And the unique carbon filtration system eliminates odor. Step 3. After the cycle is complete, the unit will automatically shut off. The entire process takes as little as 3 hours and requires no water, chemicals, venting, or draining. Step 4. The organic residual is processed into a nutrient-rich soil amendment, scientifically proven for optimal vegetation growth. Cleanup is also a breeze. The basket is removable for easy cleaning and is dishwasher safe. And the unit can operate anywhere there's electricity. The Food Cycle at Home is the only odorless, easy to use and maintain, environmentally friendly, short cycle home composting unit available. So join the revolution.
So I hope you found that video useful. I kind of thought about this product that is very innovative. And around the world, when you research circular economies, there are many, many creative ideas. And I believe in Bahrain, we have such a big market of innovation, like we can innovate a lot of new circular processes that we can do to keep the loop going, to reproduce, to minimize waste. So when we do that, we actually do the second use, reintroduce in the economic circle. So there are some products that they have stopped appealing to the initial customers. We can reintroduce, revamp, and redesign and push it out again to the clients. So that is based on 3 parameters like reuse certain products that still work, or reparation, find damaged products a second life, or recycle, make use of materials founded in waste. Okay? So moving forward is just to expand on some of the other principles of circular economy is valorization, which is harness energy from waste that cannot be recycled. You can do that by biodegrading, just like the video that I just showed you is basically taking energy away from some of the materials and simplifying them, okay, to become biodegradable material. Energy from renewable sources, elimination of fossil fuels to produce the product. Sometimes we can eliminate the fossil fuels to produce or reuse or recycle. We can eco-design, we can redesign some products in an optimal way. And there are many, many examples of products that they were redesigned. There are clothing shops that they redesigned in an eco-design, Air Nike, as we will see later on in the presentation, many IKEA products, they were using this concept, eco-design. Industrial and territorial ecology, it's basically looking at the industry you are in, looking at the territory that you're in, whether it's a country or a sector, and trying to redesign the process as we go. So recapping what circular economy does, so just to re-emphasize, what would we do? We want to reduce the waste. When a product reaches the end of its life, its materials are kept within the economy. And the third, the products are used again and again. Okay, so if we want to emphasize this concept, there are 8 ways that it outperforms a linear business model. And I know what you're thinking, because when I was researching this topic, I thought the same thing. If we are reproducing or recycling, wouldn't that lower our profitability? Wouldn't we lose out as companies? Isn't it better that customers take, make, and dispose so they can buy again, that they come again to my company? But when I looked at the advantages, actually, it's more profitable to do circular economy on the long run. Why? Greater customer intimacy is the main advantage. What does that mean? That means when you're redesigning, you have to talk to your stakeholders. You have to tell them what they want in the new design. This is the only way that customers will come back and buy the product again and again. This is one. Two, when you're tailoring according to what your customer wants, you have to have better communication with the customers. So disclosure and communication is the main pillar of sustainability because we no longer operate in an environment in the world that I win as a company and you lose as a customer. It should be a win-win. To be sustainable, both parties or all parties, it's the stakeholder centric. Everybody should feel like they are winning so that the company will keep surviving. Okay? The other advantage is you will actually produce more attractive products, and hence, if you do produce products that customer wants, what happens in the long run? You benefit, you increase your profitability. Recurrent income sources, now big part of being circular is, guess what? Produced or introducing maintenance, refurbishment, fixing of the product. So these lines in the companies that are not open, they will be opened with the new concept of circular economy. Greater resilience. Research shows that companies that actually operate on the concept of sustainability and circular economy, they outperform other companies in the long run. Why is that? Because they are better equipped in tackling what catastrophes. Then reduce production time. Of course, if you're revamping processes, what will happen? You will actually produce the product much better, much faster, eliminate the unnecessary categories in the product. So more extensive use of product and components. When you actually produce a product that is circular, for example, like the chair that I told you I bought for my son. Now that one, you actually can use the same material again and again. It has an extended lifetime. You can use it more extensively. Each component in that product will be used to the maximum. Then, of course, when you are using this, it has a lower impact on the climate and effectively lower on your cost. Most of these companies that actually implemented circular economy, they have witnessed a maximum decline in their costs, major significant drop in their costs. And if you decrease cost, obviously that will increase profitability. Now, there are two main things within each economy, which is the biological nutrients and the technical nutrients. So if you look at the linear economy, the technical and biological nutrients are mixed up. What is the technical and biological? Technical is the processes, the technical side of making a product, while the biological is the actual resources. So when you're in linear economy, when you're taking, making, and disposing, both concepts are interlinked because you have to keep producing again and again the product while injecting again and again the resources. Now, when it comes to circular economy, these two concepts are actually distinguished. Okay, so if we look at this was developed by Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and Ellen MacArthur Foundation, they are a really big institution when it comes to circular economy. They introduce circular economy guidelines, tools, diagrams. They even publish awareness on circular economy. And they did this lovely, in my opinion, diagram, which is the butterfly circular economy diagram. Now, this butterfly diagram, if you look, it's actually split into two, the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So the right-hand side is actually the technical one, and the right-hand side, which is the biological one, it talks about the resources. And if you notice here, you can either keep wasting linear, or you can do the butterfly impact, that you can come again, up again, and reproduce. Okay? So these are the two cycles if you want to separate them. So the technical cycle, produce and use, disassemble, technical. So it talks about the technical part of the production, while the biological side talks about the resources side, okay? The biological nutrients, the plant, and the resources. So splitting them all both up, the biological side, it talks about the materials for the product. It increases agricultural value if you save more and more. And this is the point. When we're doing sustainability, we're trying to reduce emissions. We are trying to decrease global warming. We're trying to achieve net zero. So we can do that by remanufacturing, and hence when we take it up again in the butterfly effect, you will keep producing and reusing, but in a way that it actually lessens emissions. So we can use it several times in a cascading effect. Now, examples of cascading, for example, a cotton clothing can be used. Then we can use it as a second-hand line clothing. Then we can actually use it as in the furniture, the same clothing, cotton clothing, we can use it for furniture. Then we can use it in the construction industry for insulation. Interesting, isn't it? I thought that concept was interesting. So technical cycle. Now, when you're doing the production side, it's also interesting because you will try to repair, you will try to remanufacture, regenerate, repair, or you reuse, okay? And the last option would be to recycle the separate parts, okay? But always make sure in the production phase that you don't put anything to waste. Now you will see the technical cycle mostly in companies that are involved in manufacturing, like Coca-Cola company, you see, and what we call it, and let's say even in IKEA, they have a technical. So most companies that are handling manufacturing. So how would we do this? There are 3R rule principle, the 3 R's. And the 3 R's is reduce, reuse, and recycle. And I think that the name, from the name, is self-explanatory. So reduce, you have to reduce your consumption. Now, customers, let's be honest, they will not reach the stage unless if they buy products, the existing products that they have is already cyclical in nature. That means the product that I have can be used in so many different ways. This way, I can reduce my consumption. So this helps me to prevent the generation of waste. I have to modify my habits. So for all those people in the chat today, I really appreciate you coming, because a big part of being sustainable and circular is to increase awareness. Just after you walk out of this session, one person can have a lot of impact. So just telling your friends, your family, how to be circular, it actually helps the sustainability concept. Okay, we have to modify how we buy things. When we buy a product, we have to be more mindful. And you know, it's really linked also to the main risk that we have currently, according to the World Economic Forum risk report. We are in a cost of living crisis. So being more mindful when you are buying, and you should buy something that is lasting you for several years, should last for several years, you're actually also tackling an economic problem, which is the cost of living crisis, the inflation rate. So coming back to circular economy, purchasing product responsibly is part of our responsibility as people who are sustainable aware citizens, okay? Then the second concept is reuse. We have to reuse the products. We have to use it again for the same function, or we just extend its life, okay? Again, this can happen when you redesign it in a more meaningful way. Finally, recycle. Now, as I told you, recycle is not a new concept. It has been there since the 80s. Since I was a child, they used to tell me recycle, recycle, recycle. But now we want you to recycle in a way that the recycling is actually the input to produce other products. Okay, so we achieve zero waste. Now, if we want to extend this concept, we can go to 6Rs and 9Rs. So what is the 6Rs? The reevaluation of resources, we have to reevaluate how much resources I'm actually using. Can I make that less? Redistribute of income and improve relations with stakeholders when I'm talking with them about their needs and their wants. The 9Rs, it talks about resilience. You see, the most important thing going forward, and not only from sustainability side, but also just judging on the outlook of the world today, we have to be more resilient to accept that the world is changing. And yes, tomorrow in my organization, they will ask me to be circular, and I have to just accept it. It's part of all these upcoming changes that is coming, and changes with time, they're coming faster and faster. So as organizations, we have to adapt to maintain our profitability. So reassessment, we have to reassess what is going on in my organization and finally restructure the economy, restructure internally my model, even personally as a human being, I have to restructure my consumptions, okay, my paradigms, that every time something breaks, I have to go buy something new. I don't have to. Yes? And again, I only have to if companies, they don't design circular products. So many companies already started manufacturing circular products. So if we look at them in the market, they're there. Yeah, probably they can be a bit more expensive than the regular ones, but in the long run, they will actually be cheaper than the comparable products because they're circular in nature. We can keep using them again and again. Now, there is another concept also that was introduced, which is cradle to cradle. And cradle to cradle was introduced by an engineer called William McDonough and an architect, no, a chemist that was named Michael Wellington. Now, these two, they actually uh, introduced the concept cradle to cradle, which talks about many, many concepts such as closed loop concept, waste management, design for disassemble, and focus on the whole life cycle, product life cycle. We have to look at each stage. And if you look on the chart, you will notice that reduce and recycle, yes, they are good. They minimize the negative impact, but do they really generate positive impact? No. And this is where we have to elevate as human beings. We have to look at the upcycle. We have to quality improve. We have to reuse, and we have to rethink. And this takes us on a whole new scale of improving the processes. This is the positive impact. Now, companies, even consumers, there are things that we have to do to achieve a circular economy. As I told you, and I'm saying this across the presentation, we have to adapt, we have to accept. Big part of sustainability, concept of sustainability is actually acceptance. It is essential that we change our way of thinking and acting, and production prices, they can be reduced with time, okay, if there is an acceptance. And the sale price with increased production, it can be lowered in the long run. Currently, I have seen the circular products, they can be sometimes a bit more expensive, but in the long run, when there is a wide population level acceptance of circular economy and circular products, with time, it will get cheaper. So it will benefit us consumers, it will benefit companies, and ultimately impacting the planet. Okay? Now, responsibility of the company. What do companies they have to do? They have to redesign the products. They have to use the waste as raw materials, and they have to use the available resources, okay? But the available resources, the fossil fuels, there are as many discussions out there that they're trying to find ways to replace these fossil fuels with biofuels, okay? Now, the responsibility of consumers, we have to have more responsibility when it comes to the 3 Rs. Now, the application of circular economy, how can we apply circular economy? You know, I thought that the nicest example out there was actually IKEA. And since we have IKEA here, we have seen some of these examples here in Bahrain. If you see, they have many circular economy concepts that are implemented. One is that they have a circular hub. They will put products there that are no longer living to the quality that they should be there on the shelf. They put them there for as decreased prices, for second hand use, or for clients that can do the cost benefit analysis and find that yes, these products, although damaged, they can be used. We can also, they're introducing new furniture that can be redesigned in so many different ways. Also, they use a lot of sustainable materials. They have introduced a lot of sustainable material concepts in their products, if you can see on the top right of the screen. And IKEA is leading because IKEA, if you open their website, they also have something which is also in line with sustainability concept. They have increased communication. So not only they will implement sustainability and circular concepts, but they will also communicate it. So there is a lot of transparency in the market to do so. Now, Nike, I also found it innovative. What they did, they actually redesigned some of their products like Space Hippie, like Air Nike. Actually, Space Hippie, some of the material in that shoe line is made from sustainable material. So they make in the retail, they recover in the energy recovery. If you see, they recycle other products and they design. And one of their winning circular concept is the redesigning. So let's look at the video here, and I thought it's a very nice video to share about what their designer had to say regarding designing the shoes.
In Athens. As designers, we are wired to be problem solvers. We get to think about designing ideas that have the highest performance impact possible, period, while simultaneously having the lowest environmental footprint or impact.
And it's a challenge. I think it would be irresponsible to be in this field right now and not to be considering how we can extend the life of things that already exist and consider that part of the designing.
One of the cornerstones of Nike, and I think Nike design, is this idea that we get to create and craft the future of sport. That's powerful for us. So as a problem solver in this company, we get to think about these two poles and the entire spectrum in between.
So that to me is a fun part of designing, combining this craft and tech element in a sustainable way.
Circularity design driven by the global fashion agenda is a super important topic to the world and to Nike. Our commitment to the circularity agenda will take us further and will require doubling down on our efforts and will require us to think a more holistic set of solutions.
So really, by having knowledge and education of how the shoes of this communities helps us as designers tailor our thinking process towards a more circular process.
That is a powerful thing for us to go solve by considering everything around the design solution. As designers, we have the right to design a better world.
So it was really interesting what they said in the video, because if you notice in the video, It's redesigning mindset before redesigning processes. So big part of achieving circular economy is to believe that we can. So we can revamp products, we can revamp processes, we can achieve the circularity by just believing that we can do so. So we have another company, which is Dell. And Dell, they actually introduced closed loop recycling. What is closed loop recycling? Closed loop recycling is basically when you take the raw materials of the product or the waste of the product and push it again in the production line. So the old laptop will produce the new laptop exactly with the same material. So the advantages of a closed loop is that you don't really have to buy any new raw material. Hence, you're actually decreasing the costs that you incur as a company. So the advantages of this, 10.5 million pounds of plastic parts they created through closed loops, 91 products, okay, closed loop monitors and desks, 11% smaller carbon footprint. So what is the carbon footprint? It is how much you're emitting as a company. So imagine just by changing the process to a closed loop recycling, you achieved as a company 11% smaller carbon footprint. And I hope you all in the chat know how important is carbon footprint, because as companies going forward, we have to disclose our carbon footprint, and even as countries, we have to disclose our carbon footprint. So this is a huge milestone that Dell has implemented and achieved. And then if you look here and the bottom and the right, you will see $1 million saved in actual costs. So you can impact and imagine the impact on profitability. Interesting, isn't it? Now moving to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, it was really interesting to talk about Coca-Cola because they actually have a process called bottle to bottle. And I thought that was so innovative. You know, Coca-Cola, just to give you background, they're the largest plastic producer in the world. So if anybody is emitting harmful gases into the air, it is Coca-Cola. But I thought their sustainability initiatives, they were very creative because the bottle to bottle that was done is basically using bottles to produce bottles, which is actually in line again with the closed loop cycle. But if the bottle could not produce another bottle, then the bottle will go into a closed loop cycle to produce other things in the Coca-Cola chain. So they also talked about recycled PET waste. PET is a polymer that is a type of material that has to be used for food and beverages. But if we can go to the lower PET material, it's actually better to produce it because it has less emissions. So they're trying as a company to investigate ways to downgrade to the lower PET so they can also decrease the emission level. Also, you can see here, they're trying to re-innovate their bottles, re-innovate their technologies, okay, in order to transform their designs. If you see here on the left-hand side, 7 out of 10 bottles are collected for recycling, which is good, but it doesn't meet the aim that they're doing because, again, they're the largest plastic producer in the world. And on the top, you will see single use are only single use if they're thrown away. So they always try to communicate with clients to bring back the bottles and to recycle them. Okay. So now we have reached the final 3 slides of our presentation. And, you know, I really want to touch base with the concepts that actually talk about circular economy. So ISO 14040 and ISO 14044, I believe, they talk about the life cycle assessment, the standardization for a circular economy. What is product life cycle? It is basically, we look at the product, we look at all the cycles of the product and see which parts is causing the maximum emission, which parts that need to actually be revamped as processes. Then we have Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which I talked about, which was a butterfly diagram. If you open their website, there are lots of many other tools and guidelines about circular economy, which actually triggered the implementation of other rules like the EU Circular Economy Closing the Loop, which had many guidelines that were put there for European companies to implement. Then we have the Cradle to Cradle, which I explained it to you, and it's a very innovative model to use for waste management, for closed loop cycle tools. Then we have the GRI, which is the reporting standard that encourages disclosure and transparency, especially with a section when it comes to reporting circular economy guidelines. Now for the most important thing, how can we benefit? You see, as bankers, we do care about the planet, yes, but we are money-oriented individuals. And even as companies, even not as bankers, we do care about the money. So how can we benefit? All these sustainability initiative and circular economy initiative, they are new markets. And a new market is a opportunity market and is an untapped market. So if you actually can explore it, you will find many, many ways you can do or take advantage of to increase your profitability. And if you research circular economy, again, you will see many initiatives around the world encouraging individuals to come forward to propose new circular economy concepts. Then we have risk mitigation. Obviously, there are two ways of making money. One way of making money is to reach our target or to increase profitability. Another way to make money is to decrease my losses. So when I manage the risk, I decrease my losses, I decrease my costs. That's another way of me making money. So if I'm producing less, or even as a bank, if I simplify my processes, if I look at, even as customers in the bank, if I look at ways that I can minimize customers coming to the bank to lessen emissions, or I can actually look at the exposures of customers and see how I can minimize the emissions or how to revamp process in a circular format, I actually decrease costs. Now, third, enhanced reputation. Obviously, when you're in line with sustainability, and you will notice this more and more, that the newer generations, they do care about engaging with companies that are value-driven. They stand up for something, okay? So when you represent circular economy, now like Coca-Cola, have you ever thought why they pay so much in advertisement to talk to their clients and say that they're sustainable? Because they know, as Coca-Cola, as IKEA, as Dell, that this is the way that they can enhance their reputation. They have more stakeholder engagement. And there was a research, I believe, that it says that customers going forward, they're going to more and more select companies based on their engagement with circular economy and sustainability. For cost reduction and operational efficiency, of course, this is in line with the risk mitigation. And 5, regulatory compliance. Now, obviously, going forward, there are regulatory guidelines. EU published them, ECB published them. We had the CBB memo 1 month ago. So these are all coming in the line. So if you're not aligned with sustainability and circular economy concepts, you will not be in alignment with regulatory compliance. So by aligning our strategies with these principles and what we're trying to achieve on a country level, we can achieve a sustainable economy and we can reap the benefits, increase profitability, increase going concern, survival, and achieving the country goals and the world goals of net zero, of decreased global warming. So I tried to research if there are any countries out there that actually did do the research and they benefited from circular economy, and I have found Netherlands. Now, Netherlands had 7 billion $7.3 billion, euros, improvement because they converted into a circular economy. And they have created over 50,000 jobs because when you are circular, there are many new lines that you have to actually produce in the business. One is the maintenance line, two, the redesigning line, the strategic, the innovation department, the research and development departments, the strategic outlook departments. All of these will create more and more jobs, hence elevating the standard of living of people. Then we have 10% decrease in CO2 emissions, saving 20% in water industry as a main resource, and finally 25% less import of primary resources. So we have to also revamp our supply of resources. So those core resources will not be used as much, and hence we achieve the core objective of what is a sustainable development, which is preserving the resources for future generations. So I hope today my session added some value, and I hope you really enjoyed it. I apologize for not engaging you much because this topic, hardly there is any engagement, unlike the previous topics that I have delivered. This is my QR code in the screen, on the screen. You can add me. This is my LinkedIn code. We can talk much more about sustainability. If you have any questions, if you have any inquiries, you can message me directly on LinkedIn. And again, I thank you for coming to this session. Highly honored, and hope to see you again in my future webinars. Thank you very much for attending, everyone. Any questions before I leave? Thank you so much, Fatma. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you. It really means a lot. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending the webinar. Thank you. So I guess there are no more questions. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you coming. Thank you, Iman. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.